welcome back to the Always Be Building Show, sponsored by Dynasty Football Factory. I am Stephen Chalmers, joined as always by my partner on the right side of the screen, Ryan Odell. Deli, say what's up to the people, baby.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. We are officially 10 days until NFL football. Finally, the long wait is finally over. Well, just about. Preseason's wrapped up. We got a week of wait time. 10 days away, I can't be more pumped. So that being said, this is something me and Steven have done all 3 years. We've done podcasting for. We're going to hit you guys with the 2024 NFL projections, for divisions, and then go through awards for all the players. So we're going all the way down the line, Offensive Player of the Year, MVP, Comeback Player of the Year. Yeah, we love these streams. It's something, first year, I think we absolutely killed it. Last year, it was okay. So we're here to come back for another one.
Yeah. So this is my favorite stream of the year. Favorite stream. Because we can bookmark this podcast. And I want to say the first year we were pushing like 95% accuracy. Like we killed it.
First year we went nuts. Last year we were middle of the pack.
Yeah, second year it dropped to like 70%.
Yeah.
But you know what? We live and we learn. So without further ado, tonight is not going to be about fantasy football. It's going to be about football. The game that Ryan and I love more than anything. Football has been a huge part of our lives, especially mine. And we're going to talk division winners. We're going to talk awards winners, all the way from MVP, Comeback Player of the Year, to Rookie of the Years on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. But before I get started, as always, Dynasty Football Factory. Great group of analysts over there. We have a Discord. Great information-based stuff on redraft, best ball, DFS, Devi, Dynasty, sponsored by yours truly as always. And Devi, some of the best information that you'll ever find out there on the content scene. Like I always say, we're grown men with fantasy football addictions. We just sit around and talk football. Join our Discord, get access to all our content, weekly articles. Speaking of which, I run the Dynasty Rookie Stock Market, which is a weekly article that drops on Mondays and Tuesdays. Unfortunately, it won't drop this week until tomorrow. I will be writing that. I'm getting caught up. Ryan will tell you, after this podcast, Thursday morning, I'm going to Arizona. So you will not see us for a week.
Yep.
Very excited. My brother's getting married, along with Ryan, and this is his bachelor party. So with that being said, Ryan, let's jump into it, baby.
Yep.
You want to start with awards winners first? Or you want to start with division winners?
Oh, I'd love to start. I mean, we line up perfectly this year for divisions, so I think we could start where we disagree here. We could start with the player awards.
Player awards. Okay. MVP. I'm going with Jalen Hurts. So the reasoning I'm going with Jalen Hurts, if you look on all sides of the ball, Saquon Barkley, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, addition I said of Saquon Barkley, Jahan Dotson comes in as your wide receiver 3. Not really sure how he fits into the offense. With Devontae Smith going to manage most of the slot snaps. We'll see. I know losing Jason Kelce hurts, but they've already drafted his replacement. They have a top 5 offensive line. Kellen Moore, one of the best offensive coordinators in the league, runs one of the fastest pace of play offenses in the league as well. Jalen Hurts, I've heard nothing but great things about him at training camp. He looks smooth. He looks back to his 2022 year. And with that being said, I'm excited to see him with Kellen Moore. I think he has the pieces in place. We all know about the rushing upside with Jalen Hurts. The Eagles are going to win 10-plus games, which puts you into the MVP conversation regardless. And think about it. Lamar Jackson had a good year last year. Was he MVP worthy? Probably not. Jalen Hurts can put up those numbers and then some. Jalen Hurts is my 2024 MVP.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate Jalen Hurts. He's always flirted with the award here and there. I think this is a great season because I think he's going to be showcasing more of his passing work with the new changes with coaching. So we'll see what he can do. I think if he can end up pushing that 4,000 mark and still rush for 10 touchdowns with that little tush-push thing. I mean, it gets tush-push, but still, he's leading this team far this year, in my opinion at least. I don't hate it. I went with the more boring answer, but I think it's also just as possible. I went with the favorite. I normally don't, but I'm going Patrick Mahomes this year. Last year he had a down year. Don't get me wrong, but he also had no receivers outside of Rashee Rice. It got rough. You know, I think he's due for a bounce back. Travis Kelce's obviously still there. Rasheed Rice did not get suspended, believe it or not. Looks like he's going to end up playing the whole season unless God forbid, they hit him with a late suspension. But let's hope that doesn't happen for now. I get Highwood's missing time, but he'll be back at some point, especially for when it actually matters in this season. I still think Patrick Mahomes is a guy. He's got all the talent in the world. And I think, like Steven said, I think the 10-win mark eliminates some other players, in my opinion. Mahomes is definitely going to get to that 10-plus win mark easily.
You didn't even talk about Xavier Worthy. You didn't even talk about Xavier Worthy.
You're right. I skipped right over him, honestly. But yeah, Worthy's an exciting guy. I mean, I hate to say Tyreek-esque, but a Tyreek player, like the same skill set. Not saying he's as good or even close, but he does run that deep burner with some fluid hips. So I think that's something plus for Mahomes as well, to have that deep threat.
Yeah, the biggest problem with Mahomes was when Tyreek Hill was traded, significant drop-off in his ADOT every year after the trade, after the Tyreek trade, excuse me. When Pat Mahomes isn't pushing the ball down the field, he's taking the dink and dunk aspect. The numbers look great to the touchdown to interception ratio, but you notice he was still hitting 4,000 passing yards consistently. But in 2018, with his first MVP, he was pushing 5,050, and that's just how explosive the Chiefs' offense was. We've gotten very used to a boring scheme in the Chiefs' offense, if you want to say that. But I think with the additions of Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, and guys like that can push the ball down the field, mixed with Travis Kelce, mixed with Rasheed Rice, mixed with Isaiah Pacheco, this offense is exciting.
Yeah, I think we're
it's
back
coached
to
by the It's coached by the best coach in the game. Andy Reid is that guy. They have the best quarterback on the planet, and just the mix of guys there, dude. If I'm not mistaken, I want to say that over the last 3 years, the Chiefs wide receivers had over 45 drops.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it. Who got cut today? Tony dropped basically everything that was thrown to him. Mecole Hardman had some problems too. MVS. Yep.
Yeah. So, Pat Mahomes, great answer. I will never argue that. Great answer.
Yeah, I don't hate that at all. Where to next?
Let's do comeback player of the year. I really think there's two answers that stand out to me. I'm taking Aaron Rodgers just due to the fact of how anticipated his arrival was in New York. And this Jets team was so excited. They have not had a franchise guy in so long. And then 4 minutes into the game, me and you were watching that game. You were at my house watching the game.
Yeah,
4 minutes
we
into
were
the game,
excited.
I was so excited.
Intro
Rodgers,
was insane.
Dude. Right. And then 4 minutes into the game, the dude snaps his Achilles. Sucks. One of the greatest QBs to ever step on the gridiron. That's my guy for comeback player of the year. Rightfully so.
Yeah, no exclamation there. I mean, he's a great choice. If he's not favorite, he probably should be. Dude's a beast. We know all about the touchdown interception ratio. We'll talk about the Jets in a little bit, but he is in a pretty solid system for him to get the job done and play to his skill set. But I went a little different here. I went with Anthony Richardson, who I think has all the ceiling in the world. I mean, he only played 3 games, 2.5 really, before he got injured and missed the rest of the season. With the upside he has with his legs and being able to push the ball downfield. I mean, you saw it last year. The passing wasn't 100% there, but the rushing was. I think if he can get that in line and be consistent in passing, this award might just be automatically his. I mean, obviously, it would take Aaron Rodgers to have a little bit of a meltdown as a quarterback, which I kind of expect. I do expect a drop off from Aaron Rodgers, which is the only reason I'm able to say, hey, I think AR, the young kid in his sophomore season, is going to break out and be a great quarterback.
Yeah, an honorable mention to Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow should definitely be in this conversation as well.
Is he? See, I didn't even consider him, I guess. I think I disqualified him. But, yeah, I mean, I guess he's eligible.
He's eligible.
Yeah. Definitely honorable mention for Joe Burrow.
So we got MVP, comeback player of the year.
Comeback player of the year.
Let's go to the rookies. We're both on the same side of the defensive rookie of the year, excuse me. So let's just throw it out there. We both have Dallas Turner.
Yeah. I think
in my opinion, for an elite edge rusher, fell way too far in the draft. Minnesota got a a Christmas gift wrapped to them. It was a great fit, especially with Danielle Hunter now going to Houston. There's no legitimate edge rusher to work in Minnesota outside of Dallas Turner. I know rookies go through a growing pain. I know he's probably going to not put up numbers that you're expecting. I don't expect double-digit sacks, but he's my favorite to win Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have to lead that defensive line, if I'm being honest. And that's a tough task as a rookie. I'm not going to say he's going to be able to stand up to it, but he's got all the opportunity in the world to get it done. I love him as a talent coming out. Me and Steve were sitting there watching the draft, and he was definitely a guy we were kind of just like pick after pick. Like once you get past like 12, I was like, okay, it's coming. And
it never came.
It never came. So, but hey, I mean, Vikings got an absolute stud, and I can't wait to see him work out there. He's going to be the highlight of that defensive line.
Yeah. Brian Flores had this Minnesota Vikings defense last year playing a lights out ball. I mean, they were the sixth best defense in the league last year. They were so close to the verge of a playoff spot with the QB carousel that they experienced last year. It's cool to see. Brian Flores is a great defensive-minded coach. He does very well on that side of the ball, and I think Dallas Turner working with him is going to be a great thing. He's the new Danielle Hunter from Minnesota. That's who he is.
Yeah.
Offensive Rookie of the Year, we differ. I've already said this. My flag's planted. I know it's a QB categorized award. Malik Neighbors is my pick. That's what it is. I've said it all year.
I need some context for that one. I mean, all disrespect to all like respect to him. That's my boy. I hope he succeeds as a Giant. I mean, for God's sakes, I was praying we were going to draft him. But we just saw Puka Nacua do absolutely insane numbers, and he was bested by C.J. Stroud. I get C.J. Stroud had a great season and everything, but
right.
I mean, you think about the receivers that have won Rookie of the Year. Who was it? Jamar Chase and Odell Beckham are the two most recent.
Chase, Beckham, Jefferson. Yeah.
But
if you think about it, realistically, outside of Baker Mayfield, who had 28 touchdowns his rookie season, Justin Herbert and C.J. Stroud, they're anomaly seasons for rookie quarterbacks who take time to adjust in the league. I'm not saying that Caleb and Jaden and them are going to be bad, because they're not. They're good talents. They're elite talents. But respectfully, I think it's the position that's hardest to come into the league right away and dominate.
Yeah.
Quarterback position is the hardest position to play in football. No disrespect to any of those guys. I think they all have very high ceilings, very high upsides. I'm going to take the receiver who I think is slept on as the top receiver in this class. He's the most explosive receiver. I think for the Giants to do anything on offense, they have to get the ball in his hands early and often. And 100%. I believe he is going to be peppered with targets early and often. And from what I've seen in training camp, there's nobody doing what he's doing. Nobody.
Very true. It is. He looks the best. I mean, Marvin Harrison, we've seen limited work from, but from anybody else is not even close to what Neighbors has been doing out there on the field. Talent's there. I'm not saying that. It's just you got two quarterbacks who have bounced back and forth between picking. I originally went with Jaden Daniels, but I've just kind of come to the reality that it's more than likely going to be the other one. Caleb Williams from the Bears is probably winning Rookie of the Year, realistically speaking. And I don't want to downplay Jaden Daniels because I think he's a great talent, especially with his legs and what he did at LSU passing the ball last year. He showcased his abilities finally. I get it took him time, but the ability is still there for Jaden Daniels. But when you look at the other side with Caleb Williams, he's got all the weapons in the world to get the job done. I mean, right down the line, you got Pro Bowl with the Pro Bowl, Keenan Allen, who's been a stud his whole career, DJ Moore, who's an absolute monster. He's wide receiver 6 last year in some formats. Nuts. And then you just dropped Rome Odunze with Swift in the backfield as another addition in this offseason. I mean, I think it's his award to lose, if I'm honest with you. And I know it's a boring pick, but he didn't really bat an eye during any of preseason. He looked good out there. He had some great deep ball passes. I think it's Caleb Williams' award to lose, honestly.
It's fair. He's got the best situation. We've talked about it.
Yeah.
There's no QB that's ever walked into a situation like Caleb Williams. Really exciting. Amongst the receivers you talked about, Cole Kmet, who's a monster in the red zone. He's always been a monster in the red zone. Those numbers have been back since he's come into the league. DeAndre Swift. We know his receiving profile. In Philly, not a lot of receiving work. And I will say Chicago's O-line is not Philadelphia's. So we'll see how DeAndre Swift operates. I'm very excited to see how they incorporate all these weapons. And Caleb should have success. But like I said, sometimes the game is too fast for a rookie quarterback, and that's why I'm going to go off script here.
I like it. Hey, I'm getting that neighbor's jersey here soon, buddy. I hope he wins Rookie of the Year. I would tout that thing all around. Trust me.
He's a stud, man. He's a stud.
Trust me.
Offensive player of the year.
Did we split here again too?
No, we didn't.
No, we did not split.
We did not. And I think this award goes to who's the player who's been the best skill position guy outside of the quarterbacks and outside of Christian McCaffrey. Realistically, Tyreek Hill is a top 3 skill position player in the league. He was on pace for 2,000 before the ankle injury, and I want to say 14 or 15 is when it happened, week 14 or 15. I can't recall. Tyreek Hill is a special player. Miami over the last 2 years has 22 plays of 50-plus yards downfield. There's no way you can stop Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle when they're on the field at the same time. Right. Mixed in with the running backs and Mostert and Devon A-Chain, this offense is damn near unguardable. Damn near.
Yeah.
And Tua is locked into his future. These guys are all locked in. Tyreek Hill got his restructured deal. Jalen Waddle's got his restructured deal. They're here to have fun. Yeah. And Tyreek Hill is a baller. That's just what it is.
Yeah, for sure. And before you guys say anything about the age, like he'll be 30 this year, or he is 30 this year, blah, blah, the age, all that. Think about all the greatness he's had with Patrick Mahomes in the past, and his 2 seasons with the Dolphins under McDaniels and with Tua has been 2 better seasons than anything he did in Kansas City, outside of maybe touchdowns. Dude's a dog, man. He's tough to stop. I just don't see. The only person that could maybe push him is CeeDee Lamb if he has another great season like he did last year, but don't expect that. Justin Jefferson's in a down year. I hate to say it's a curse, but it seems like anytime CMC has an absolutely insane season the year before, he kind of has lingering injuries here and there the following season. That's the only reason I'm not picking CMC. But, man, Tyreek Hill out there is just absolute madman with the ball in his hands.
I'm not worried about the age 30 season. Tyreek Hill in 2 years in Miami has shown no signs of decline at all. None.
Hasn't lost a beat.
Not one. He's a baller.
And that just leaves Defensive Player of the Year.
Oh,
we are split on too.
I am so passionate about this fucking award. So goddamn passionate. Listen, it's TJ Watt. That's what it is. If there's anything that's guaranteed in life, death, taxes, and TJ Watt leading the league in sacks. My boy TJ Watt has been absolutely hoed.
Multiple times. Yeah.
Multiple times. Myles Garrett, bum. Didn't deserve that shit last year.
Whoa, he was pretty dominant last year. That's not disrespect. Bum. I knew he was in your division. Not a bum. Dog.
How can you lead the league in sacks, tackles for loss, QB hits, QB pressures, forced fumbles? You know what? I don't even want to talk about it. And then we can talk about the Stephon Gilmore year. Hoed again. TJ Watt should have 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards and be pushing for 4 this year. TJ Watt is the most dominant defensive player in the NFL. That's what it is.
Yeah, so with all that he just said, I'm going to Micah Parsons, who is hung around. He won through his 3 seasons. He won Defensive Player of the Year's rookie year. Year 2, he was third in voting, in Defensive Player of the Year voting. Last year he was second. Or maybe they're flipped. But either way, he's been hanging around, right? I think he's pushing for a contract next season. He's going to go absolutely insane out there for the Cowboys. I get whatever. His attitude sucks, blah, 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 blah. But that man can play some fucking football. Excuse my language. But he is a dog, man. And that's no knock to TJ Watt. I think Mika's about to have a baller season, and that's coming from a Giants fan, which is scary for me because we face him twice a year. He's going to kill us. I already know he is. I think Mika finally gets the job done this year.
Hey, Penn State alum, baby. You love me some Micah Parsons, Penn State alum. It just really bothers me how badly the NFL hosts TJ Watt.
Because what if I told you that's part of the reason why I didn't pick him?
Because he's not quote unquote a down lineman. We don't run a 4-3 scheme. We run a 3-4. Who cares? He's still
can't get doubled up. You speak on these things, but he can't get doubled up like Myles Garrett did all last year.
He gets doubled up all the time. All the time. Watch every Steelers snap like I do. He gets doubled all the time. He gets hoed. It's ridiculous. I don't want to talk about it. Oh, honorable mention, though. A player that I have fallen in love with, Max Crosby.
Sure. Great name with there on the hat.
Stud. He is a stud. So, let's break down these divisions. Start with the AFC. I'll take the North. I'm so invested in this division.
You think?
I'll be honest with you. I know they lost Patrick Queen, but realistically, they can replace defensive players so easily. Kyle Hamilton was a steal to them. Their secondary is still elite. They just signed Odafe Owe, who had a sack in every game for the last 11 games of the year. They're so dominant. They add Derrick Henry. They didn't lose anything on offense. This is the Ravens' division to lose, strictly because Cincinnati did nothing to improve their roster. Nothing. Their defense got worse. They lose Mixon. I know the additions of Zach Moss and, Chase Brown as a committee might work, but they didn't get better.
Right.
They didn't. They stayed stagnant. The Ravens did not.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Ravens' division to lose.
Yeah, Ravens this year are going to be really, really fun to watch. I still can't wait to see what Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson in the same offense is capable of doing. We're all going to find out soon. I think it's going to be absolutely electric. I'm glad we live close to Baltimore because if it gets real good, I'm going to a game.
Yeah,
I'm taking my ass to Baltimore myself. And I think,
but since Lamar has come into the league in 2018, he has beaten the Steelers one time.
That might change this year.
It might. All I'm saying is, he's only beat us once.
It's going to be a whole different ball game when you guys tout out. I mean, I guess Kenny Pickett's can't be any.
We've never
better.
Every time we played Derrick Henry's never had a 100-yard rushing game against us.
Phew.
Just saying.
That's a stat.
Just want to throw that out there.
That's a stat for sure.
Anyway, let's move on to the South.
South, let's get it. I'll take this one. I do think before I say the answer, I like to give an honorable mention. I do think the Jags can take a step this year, especially with their offense. They got a little bit better this year. They had Brian Thomas Jr. I do think the Jacksonville has got a good shot. I think this might be a fun division. I mean, you got Will Levis, Anthony Richardson, and Trevor Lawrence. I think Will Levis is capable of doing something.
And CJ Stroud.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm not getting my pick yet. We got CJ Stroud, who is probably the next perennial franchise quarterback in the NFL. I don't think he chokes this division, dude. They add Joe Mixon and Stephon Diggs to the equation from last year. You already looked
– Hunter.
Yeah, true. Got them, sniped him straight from the Vikings. But, this team is an absolute tank. I think they're going to do big things. I think it's another team that can get 10-plus wins relatively easy. So, and quite honestly, I know I just said what I said about the other three teams, but I don't know if any of those guys can realistically get more than 10. I mean, 9 is a chance, but Houston Texans going to own that division.
Yeah, and last year, first-year head coach D'Amico Ryans, they went in and played lights-out ball for D'Amico. There was no expectations for C.J. Stroud as a rookie, none. And you can't beat expectations when there were none. But he set the bar high. This team set the bar high. Nico Collins got a deal. They found Tank Dell. They bring in Joe Mixon. They bring in Diggs. They bring in Daniil Hunter. Their secondary with Stingley and Petrie is loaded. They are ready to go.
Yeah,
They're ready to go. Let's go to the East. So I've bounced back and forth with this one. And it's tough. We watched Tua falter so bad last year in the second half. So bad.
Mm-hmm.
It was rough. We watched Josh Allen had to put the Buffalo Bills on his back. Their defense is awful. Matt Milano is injured as well. I think the recipe for success lies in the city of New York. Listen, they have the best division in the East and quite possibly in the AFC. Their defense is loaded.
Yeah.
The offensive line additions, you bring in Tyron Smith, you bring in a first-round left tackle. Aaron Rodgers is healthy. You finally get to see Garrett Wilson play with a perennial quarterback, and you get a healthy Breece Hall.
Yeah.
The recipe for success: control the clock, don't turn the ball over, and stop teams when necessary. This team has everything built for the run. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to just, forget how to not turn the ball over.
Yeah.
That's just what he does.
Yeah.
Give me the Jets to win the AFC East.
Yeah, I think the Jets. I mean, it's tough because I think the Dolphins also have a solid chance. I think me and you fought back and forth between this one. But you look at it, all Aaron Rodgers has done his whole career is take care of the ball, not the interceptions, and it's proven through stats. He's all-time history of any quarterback has the lowest interceptions percentage and best ratio of touchdowns to interceptions. That's all he has to do this year, right? This defense is phenomenal. He's going to go back to his Packer days when they had their amazing defense they had when A.J. Hawk and all of them were there. I think we're going to see a lot more of that. Garrett Wilson, you got your wide receiver. I don't mean to echo Steven here, but Breece Hall, I mean, this offense is also – I mean, I'm not going to say ass electric because that defense is a dog, but, man, they got a few great weapons on the offensive side, and I think that's all they really need. They just got to take care of the ball. Let the defense do their job. Offense can do theirs. You got a running back that can rush and receive. So anytime Rodgers gets in trouble, dump that ball off, get it out. I think, honestly, I've always fought with the Jets. I've never really seen them succeed outside of Mark Sanchez in the NFL. I think this might be the year. It was supposed to be last year. As long as Aaron Rodgers comes back as Aaron Rodgers, I think the Jets take this division.
Yeah. They robbed us of Aaron Rodgers last year, 4 minutes into the game. I hate the NFL scriptwriters. I hate them. So let's go to the West. Do I really have to say anything here? This is a slam dunk. It's a layup. It's Pat Mahomes in the Kansas City Chiefs division. I really don't have to talk about this here. There's no true competition here.
Yep.
Herbert's battled by plantar fascia. There's no quarterback for the Raiders. They have a secondary problem. They're great up front. But with no quarterback, you can't beat Pat Mahomes and them. The Broncos rebuilding. Okay. This is easy.
Yeah. I really don't have much to say. I mean, I feel like everybody, there's no real argument here. It's the Chiefs and then it's everybody else.
Let's go to the NFC, baby. Got 4 to talk about.
Let's knock these out. Starting in the North.
You can take the North because I bounce back and forth between these two teams as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's tough. You got Jordan Love, who's absolutely slinging the rock, shot out into the league like a bat of hell. Already the next link in the Packers quarterback tree. But I went with the Lions and Dan Campbell. I mean, this team alone, I know they have their struggles on the defense side of the ball with their secondary. But that offense and what they're capable of doing is absolutely insane. I mean, Jared Goff has revived his career in Detroit. I don't think he's going to have any type of fall off. He's got Amonra, who's his best friend. Went for like 119 catches last year. Jahmyr Gibbs in the backfield. Sam Laporta broke out last year. This is all great. Dan Campbell's going to shove the defensive line down your throat on the defensive side of the ball and hope that's enough. Last year it was. I I think the Lions are gonna take this division.
Yeah, it was really tough for me because I really like what I've seen from Green Bay. Again, they haven't missed in the QB carousel in a while between trading for Brett Favre, drafting Rodgers. You have Love now. You add a running back you've never had, consistently with these splits. You got Josh Jacobs who can handle a 300-touch workload. The young receivers are there. They're all breaking out at the same time. I'm a big fan of Luke Musgrave. I think what sets this team apart is DNA, championship DNA. I know Dan Campbell is a coach of cojones. He plays 4-down territory all game, every game, and I think that can hurt him at times. But I love how he coaches. I love how players respond to his coaching scheme. I love how tough they played all year. They should have won the San Fran game. They should have been playing in the Super Bowl last year. Oh well. There's nothing that happened on that team other than the loss of Cam Sutton, a nickel DB. Again, you don't want to lose DB. Oh, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, excuse me. That's a loss. I will say that.
Sure.
But if any team can put up 40 a night, it's the Detroit Lions. You didn't even mention David Montgomery, who handled 200-plus touches.
That's true.
Almost 5 yards per carry.
That's sad when you can list all that talent and then still have Montgomery, who basically did all the goal line work last year for him.
Yeah. So it's the Lions. It's the Lions. But the Green Bay Packers are a very young, up-and-coming team that I like.
Honestly, that division might come down to head-to-head, if we're being honest. It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. So I'm gonna take the North, or I'm gonna take the East. So
heading on over to the East. All right.
We all know that nobody has repeated this division since 2003, 2004, when the Philadelphia Eagles did it. Again, we're going on 20 years now. I'm going to ride the trend. Dallas will not repeat. This is Philly's division to lose. This Eagles team, they did everything in the offseason they needed to do. Devin White acquisition, drafts. They added Quinyon Mitchell to the secondary. They added Cooper DeJean. Cooper DeJean comes to the secondary. They get to move James Bradbury around. They can kind of mask their weakness in the secondary there. Linebacker help. They got rid of Hassan Reddick. He was a cancer in the locker room. Apparently, they bring in Bryce Huff, so they didn't lose much. They had that Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
Okay. Kellen Moore. We get to see him with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is healthy. He was banged up by a knee injury last year. A.J. Brown was hurt to the end of the year last year. Dallas Goedert was hurt last year as well. It's the Eagles.
Yeah, it's the Eagles. And I think for the last little bit, every offseason they've gotten better. They're under a great ownership. They're making all the right moves. Roseman is an absolute wizard. I hate it as a Giants fan, but honestly, dude, you add Saquon to this team every single year for the last 3 years, ever since they drafted Jalen Hurts. This team has gotten better and better and better. They've got this whole tush-push thing going for them. You get them inside the 5, guess what? They're scoring the rock. They're insane, man. I think the Cowboys are a great team, but what Dak did last year, not 100% sure that's repeatable. He went absolutely insane with CeeDee Lamb. It's a tough call. And for the Cowboys to win the division last year, they needed Philly to fall off, and they did, but I'm not going to project that again this year. I think down the stretch, the Eagles would be a little bit better. They have a new rung on the ladder with Saquon Barkley. As long as he stays healthy, it's going to be electric there. So, all right, I think it's Philly, and that's it. Anyway,
the West.
I'm going to go to the West. I think this is another relatively easy one. Kind of much like Kansas City. I think this is the 49ers division with Kyle Shanahan and everything they have going on there. Brock Purdy, I know I've said my woes with him in this, but the system around him is all that he needs to succeed. It's the 49ers in this division for me. I really don't have to say much else, to be honest with you.
Fair enough. I agree. Last division being the NFC South. I think this is actually the weakest division in football. Atlanta's done exciting things. with all the offseason acquisitions they had last year, Pro Bowl Jesse Bates, and we can keep going on a list here. They bring in Justin Simmons, who is a perennial all-pro safety to play alongside Jesse Bates. They get their QB. They get Kirk Cousins on a 4-year deal. I am concerned. I have not seen him play in any preseason action. I didn't expect to, but I have not heard anything about Kirk Cousins. So I don't know how to feel about that. But Kirk Cousins is their guy. You get another year of Bijan, Drake London, Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is healthy. I want to say that Tampa Bay has a chance. They did win it last year.
Sure.
They did lose Dave Canales as a head coach. He goes down to Carolina. They didn't really do much either. Tampa Bay kind of stayed stagnant while Atlanta is making
kind of
moves.
just cruised by and semi-won the division. Yeah.
Yeah, and this was the weakest division in football last year. I expected to be this year outside of the Jets or outside of the Falcons and the Bucs. I'm going to go with a new exciting team here, unless for some reason Kirk Cousins just doesn't click and it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
It has to be Atlanta on paper.
Yeah, for sure. I think a big part. I mean, I like looking at safeties when it comes to defenses. I mean, they have two of the best in the league, Jesse Bates, and they picked up Justin Simmons, who's like a personal favorite of mine. That defense got a little bit better. I think Kirk Cousins is gonna, as long as he comes back, 100%. I think that's going to be the only difference they needed to win this division. Honestly, like I said a second ago, last year the Bucs kind of cruised by. They got by the skin of their teeth and won that division. But now that Kirk Cousins is in town, I think Atlanta, with the offense they have, is probably going to take that one home.
Yeah, we get to play them week 1.
Yeah,
we get Atlanta week 1.
We'll find out real quick.
We'll find out real quick. Excited. Other than that, this is my favorite show of the year. I'm so excited. So bookmark it, tape it, knock it down. Let's do it. Ryan, anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Yeah, if you guys watched up, turning out tonight, we had 111 of you guys have stopped in tonight. We appreciate every single one of you guys, honestly. That's why we get on here. I mean, we're just two guys come on here, talk football once a week. If we're busy, maybe it's every other, but we love what we do, and we hope you guys enjoy every second of it, or a single second of it. Either way, we're happy to be here.
Yeah. So, again, I will be gone. No second podcast this week. I'll be back Monday. So we'll see you Monday. Look out for my weekly article, the Dynasty Rookie Stock Watch. Excited to be writing that weekly. Check it out. Always have a fun time with it. And on that note, guys, this is it for us for the week. We are out.